Welcome back. So today we're going to be working on this front core support a little bit more again. See, something looks a little bit different. I did get some up and forward headers. I think I was talking about that in one of the last videos and somebody commented and offered these to me for free. So this is the style that I did want to go with. Somebody commented and said that they didn't fit their build and they were local and they wanted to give them to me for free. So I have those now. So I think what I'm going to end up doing with these is probably cutting them back farther, put the V-bend back here more. You can see that they are quite a bit different in length because of the heads, but that'll be easy to sort out. I'll just re-weld them. Starting to get the radiator in place. Just have it propped up with a pipe right now. I did go ahead and drill some holes in the frame there for those bottom studs to go through, so those are sitting on a 1/2-inch rubber washer. So there's enough of the stud sticking out that it's not going to move front to back. So I did go ahead and mock this thing up with the bubble level. It's pretty close to level, just eyeballing it in here. So I think I am going to run this pipe right towards the front end of this support here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in this section here, this whole big square. I got some 16 gauge sheet and I'm just going to use like cardboard, make a template, cut that thing out. And then what I would like to use is on the back of this 16 gauge, I'll probably do like a thicker piece and then I'll drill some holes and then tap for probably like an M8 125 because that's what I have a tap for. So that way I'll have a little bit of material to actually put a bolt into and I won't have to use a nut. So that's kind of the plan there. I do have room to come through the backside with my fingers if I wanted to put a nut on the backside, but I figured I'd just use thicker material on the backside and drill and tap it, and then I don't have to worry about using nuts. I can just have 2 bolts. So that should work out. I'm going to work on getting those things cut and we'll start to get this front bar mounted. Alright, for my template I just used some of this wide tape. Tape was actually wider than the hole, so I just used my fingers and went around and made a little impression into the tape. Cut it out and then traced out 2 little templates. So now I'll cut it with the bandsaw. Well, here is the first template. I got both of them cut out, so they actually work pretty decent. I did cut them a little bit oversized, so they kind of overlap, and then I got to trim a little bit on the corner off. This is what the driver's side looks like. It actually fits up pretty decent. Shouldn't have to do a whole lot of trimming. A little bit on the corner on the back side, but looking pretty good so far. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'll take both pieces. I'm going to mark where I want holes to be, or a hole anyways. So I have that material to drill through for the bolt. And then I think I'm going to TIG these things into place. I did get a new TIG torch. I ordered it on Amazon. It's not an actual TIG torch for my unit. I hope that it works. I think it has the right fitting and it should work, so I kind of want to test it. But my other one, the flex head broke and then it got a hole in it. And Eastwood is back ordered until May for the TIG torches. So I didn't want to wait another 3 months, like this was a while ago when I ordered it. So I ended up just finding one on Amazon, so hopefully that works. Okay, so there's the 2 plates. It's got basically a piece of flat stock cut into a rectangle, threaded, drilled and tapped for M8 125. Should be good for what I need it to do. So what I'm going to do now is take the flap wheel and kind of clean this stuff up, and then I'll try to weld it in there. Alright, so I got these plates all welded in on the backside. TIG welder worked pretty decent. New torch worked okay. It's not a flex head though. My other one was a flex head, so I'm gonna have to get used to that, because even in my normal seated position I flex the head a little bit, so I just had to kind of readjust my body. Okay, so here's the finished product on the driver's side. So that's all boxed in, welded all the way around, and then just went around the whole thing with the flap wheel. So now on the passenger side, I got this template mocked up with the hole drilled. So I'm going to take that tape back off, cut it, and then trace it onto the material, and then I'll cut it out. I'll cut 2 of them. So I did get those brackets finished. The brackets actually turned out really nice. Took them on the belt sander and got them all flat. Here's what the driver's side looks like. So I did shorten the front tube up a little bit to get it to fit inside there. So I just tacked it in there with the MIG welder, put the bubble levels on it, so looks pretty good there. There is the driver's side, passenger side, looks pretty good. Now what I'll do is take this thing off, I'll take it over to the welding table, and then I'll use the TIG welder, go around each one, probably look a little bit better, and then I'll test fit it and start making the bottom pieces. Okay, so I got this thing's fully welded and bolted in, test fitted with the radiator in there. And it actually looks pretty decent. I put a bubble level on the radiator. It's tilted back slightly, but that's not too bad. And there's not much movement at all when I yank on this thing, and actually I can roll the truck back and forth, pushing on the bar, so seems like it's pretty strong just with that. So now I'm going to start working on the sidebars. So I took this opening from the factory body mount and I cut a little piece to go in there, and I'm just going to weld that in and then grind it smooth. Did the same thing over here. I started to get real technical with how I wanted to fit, and then I just said screw it, I would just fill it in. I also did just like a rough coat on the pipe here. So essentially this is going to go something like this, and then I'll weld it on right there. So that's pretty much vertical. Then essentially it'll be perpendicular to the frame here. Also, what I believe I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this pipe a little bit shorter so I can run a rubber washer, the same washer that I have on the radiator. So I can raise that up a little bit. That'll give me a little bit of flex, and then I'm going to use like a M10 by 1.5 bolt to go through the bottom side of that and bolt it right in. I should be able to just like weld a nut or something right inside there, piece of flat on the bottom, weld a nut inside of it, and just go through with 1 bolt on the bottom side and then have it flex a little bit with that washer. All right, well I got the top one tacked in, kind of biffed it a little bit on the tack. This is basically what I got here. I got that rubber washer with just a metal washer, and then I will run a bolt through the bottom. So that's kind of what it looks like there, and I'll finish the other side. Alrighty, I got the driver's side all tacked in now, so both sides are tacked. I'm going to pull it off and take it over to the table and take it in there. Hopefully I don't break them off while I'm moving it. But I have quite a few tacks on there. There's 2 there, and I think there's like 2 or 3 on the back side. So I'll finish that up and come back. Alright, so I got both sides all done getting welded on. I did weld a nut into the bottom of each one, and then I put a bolt in it and marked with a Sharpie where the bolt head is, so then I can go ahead and drill that out right in the center. Alright guys, I know this is not really looking like much, but I am very happy with how this is turning out. So I do have the rubber washers on there, and that actually turned out pretty decent. I might go get a different size washer because this center hole on this one is a little bit too big, but this is just what I had laying around. So I bought the washers, I bought the rubber washer, and then I had these guys laying around. So I haven't really bought anything specific for it, but it's working pretty slick right now. So I don't have the top bolts in, and then this is about how tight it is. So it does flex just like the factory core support did, and then I can bolt these in up top. That's bolted in, so this thing threads in nice by hand. One thing I'm really happy about with this thing is none of the holes I had to make are oversized or anything. Say, me personally, I don't really have good luck with drilling holes and aligning multiple holes, and all of them line up pretty well. I don't have to fight with anything, and I didn't have to drill any holes oversized just to get stuff to line up. Even after welding it, so I welded it in 4 spots, and there's 4 separate holes, and they all line up pretty decent. So like that one there, you can see the fit around the bolt. It's like really tight. And even the holes that I drilled through this mount on the bottom, I can actually leave the bolt, like push the bolt in there, and it doesn't fall out. So it's actually turning out pretty nice. All right, so we'll test this. I got it all bolted on the top and bottom now. Pretty good. All right, so that'll be it for this one. I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. It took me the majority of the time that I had on the weekend to finish this, but I'm glad I took my time on it and kind of made it what I wanted it to be instead of just rushing it. Now essentially this whole thing is going to be removable with 4 bolts. So then I'll just like add little tabs to be able to bolt the radiator and bolt the intercooler to this. And that'll basically be like a little template to start from. Okay, so doing a little bit more mock-up here. I was kind of sweating bullets when I was putting the grill on, because I honestly never test fitted it at all, and it was very, very close to hitting. So there's just a little bit of room there, but it ended up working out. So yeah, that could have been a mistake, but ended up working out. I got lucky on that one. So I like the radiator position. Radiator position is good. Intercooler is a little bit low, and I think I want to raise that up a little bit. But that means I'm probably gonna have to modify the intercooler. Right now the intercooler's up high enough that it's gonna actually hit the radiator. So I gotta think about what I want to do with that one. These, I do have a little bit of room here. I can't really go out very far, so I'd have to do like a 45 immediately off of that, or I'd have to build this tank out a little bit more and then go straight down with the pipe. So, which is fine. I'm okay with like welding and modifying the intercooler if I have to. This bracket is also a little bit big, so I can modify that. I don't really have to do exactly there with the bracket. Another watch out that I have is with the Holley mid-mount accessory drive setup, that's going to be farther forward than this. So if I want to go single 3-inch pipe up to the intake, I'm going to have to really watch out for my space, or I end up just going with 2 pipes back up. So I do like a 2 in and then a 2 out. That would be fine. I would just have to chop the outlet off, close that hole, and then make 2 other outlets on it. So we'll see. I don't think I'm going to be able to go straight back out. I could easily just lower that outlet though. So like the whole 3-inch outlet is in the tank. I could lower it down and just kind of bubble it out a little bit. But those options come with being able to weld aluminum and kind of modify it however I want to. So as far as the accessory drive goes, I do have all the parts now for the accessory drive except for the cooling manifold, which is basically the heart of the system. So I can't really mock anything up or do anything until I get that. But other than that, I like how this is turning out. So I do have enough room to put the AC condenser in. I'm not going to do that right away, but I'll be able to add that later. I did measure the intercooler, and the core goes from the top of this opening to the bottom of the bumper right here. So that's ideally where I would like to get this weld line, right at the top of this. So it has all of this opening, all of the air going right straight through the core. So I just might have to get creative with how I want to do that. But there it is. Until next time.